Today, we're going to begin advanced exploitation, which is a part of the CompTIA PenTest Plus practical labs, as well as the offensive pen testing pathway of Try Hack Me. And as a part of today's video, we're going to be hacking into Steel Mountain. And this is based on the theme of Mr. Robot, if you've ever seen that show. It's a really good show on hacking. And so we're going to be hacking into Steel Mountain. As the name implies, we're going to be using a series of different tools like Metasploit and PowerShell to advance our escalation privileges. And that's essentially the theme of it. My name is Hank Hackerson. I will be your instructor for today. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you can tag along with us as we go into this journey of penetration testing and ethical hacking. In the Steel Mountain exercise, we're going to be hacking into a Mr. Robot themed Windows machine, and we're going to use Metasploit to get initial access, use PowerShell for the privilege escalation enumeration, and learn a new technique to finally get administrator access at the very end of it. There is very little instruction that is left for us inside of this room. For the most part, we're just going to have to go through the various different elements of this piece by piece and most likely do some trial and error or something like that. I did this room over a year ago, and I did not remember exactly what I did, like anything about what I did. As I was reading through the room, I was like, man, I don't know if I was stoned out of my mind at the time, because I've been sober for a long time. So I don't know if at the time that I started this, I was extremely stoned or what, but I didn't remember any of the stuff. So this is going to be something that I think I'm going to be re-experiencing, and then you're going to be experiencing with me as we go along with this. We're going to use a variety of different tools, as I already mentioned, so it should be a good one. There's the intro, initial access, privilege escalation, and then getting escalation without Metasploit. So should be good, should be solid. I've already started the virtual machine, the victim machine that's been assigned to us. And then at the very top, when I clicked show split view, before this was called start attack box. And so we already have this loaded, and I'm just going to make sure that it's on a full screen so that it's not super zoomed in like this. And that's pretty much it. So a quick little note from Hackaholics Anonymous, and then we will dive into the introduction. If you want access to my notes and exclusive downloads, and to get lifetime access to me on Discord, consider joining Hackaholics Anonymous. We have 4 tiers. We have the supporter, the agent, the guardian, and the master. Each tier gets their own Discord server and early access to content. The agent, guardian, and master levels get exclusive content, exclusive downloads, monthly Python automations, live streams with me every single month, plus so much more. And to join, you can simply click the link in the description below, and you will be able to choose the tier for which you want to join. I really hope I see you in the Discord chats. If not, I hope I see you in the comment section. Alright, so what we're going to be doing in this video, in this room, we're going to be enumerating a Windows machine. We're going to gain initial access with Metasploit, and then use PowerShell to further enumerate the machine and escalate our privileges to admin. If you don't have the right tools for this, so you can get your own version of Kali Linux, and I show you how to install it inside of the Linux Plus training series. So there's a playlist called CompTIA Linux Plus, and in the first video, in section 3 of that first video, there's going to be how to install a Linux machine. And we go through the downloading of the ISO for Kali Linux and then installing it through a variety of different approaches, really. But once you install Kali Linux, you will actually get your own series of tools that we're going to use. For example, Metasploit, right? And then you can use Metasploitable as the victim machine if you want to follow along that way. There's also the Kali Linux room that's available inside of Try Hack Me that will kind of show you how to control your own version of Kali Linux inside of your browser. So there are a few different ways to be able to do what we're doing. The key piece of it at the end is to do it against a Windows machine. So you can get the attack box by downloading Kali Linux for free and installing it on a thumb drive, something like that. But to be able to actually launch it against the Windows machine, you would need to have a victim machine. So it could be your own Windows computer if you have one, or you can just download a victim machine, a version of Microsoft Windows, an outdated version of Microsoft Windows, and then launch it as a separate attack, or as a separate machine, I should say, a separate virtual machine. And then from there, you can attack it using your Kali Linux. So if you don't have access to the Steel Mountain room in TryHackMe, it requires a paid subscription of TryHackMe. But I think for the $12 or the $14 per month, whatever it is that they charge, I think it's totally worth it to get all of these tools and to be able to run all of these practical labs and do everything that we do. So it's totally up to you if you want to do that, or if you want to go ahead and download Kali Linux and install an older version of Windows for free. If you want to do that, you can totally do that. So it's totally up to you how you want to approach this, but you would need access to at least Metasploit, as well as PowerShell, which is inherent, it's native to the Windows environment. So this machine that we have does not respond to ping, and it may take a few minutes to boot up. I've already given it a very long time, so it should already be booted. So now it says deploy the machine. Who's the employee of the month? So that's what the first thing that we're trying to find out. So this is our attack box. Oh my God, it's super zoomed in. I thought it would not be zoomed in like this when I opened it in a new window. This seems to be a new thing that they're doing, because it should not be this zoomed in. When I usually open the attack box in a new window like this, it should already be zoomed out. And this seems to not be the case. So I think I have to actually manually zoom in and out, which is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass, because now it's going to zoom out of the lecture environment and I have to keep zooming in and out. That was not the case before. When I would go full screen like this, it would already start zoomed out. So I think it's something new that they did for their environment. But okay, anyways, whatever. Let us find out what we can find out about this employee of the month person. So there are a few different ways that we can do it. So the hint, what does the hint tell us? Let's see if there's even a hint. The hint is not even active. So that's interesting. So all these hint buttons are probably not even going to be useful to us as we go through this. So there are a few different ways that we can do it, because if we already know that this is a Windows machine that we're going to be attacking, we can just try to X-free RDP into the machine. Although we don't have access to the login credentials, we can also just go and see if we can open it in our web browser to see if it loads as a website or not. And we can run Nmap to kind of do some reconnaissance to try to find out what it can be done. So there are a few different ways that we can do this, and I'm going to try all of them and hopefully try to get some kind of a response for us. So let's see what we can do. First and foremost, let's get rid of this, see if we can actually load the site. Oh, there it is. Easy does it. Oh, and you know what? This is actually from the show, this guy right here. Who is his name? That's the key piece. So we're going to right click on this. We're going to inspect it. And from here, we're going to look at the source code and see it's Bill Harper. That's his name. And if you are familiar with the show, this guy gets kind of abused, in a certain episode. So I'm not going to take it away from you, but that's his name. His name is Bill Harper. So that's our employee of the month. All right. Easy enough. Now let's go into initial access here. All right, for initial access, we have 4 questions here. So it basically says, let's get an initial shell. That's the goal that we have here. So it says scan the machine with Nmap. What is the other port running a web server on? So this implies that we have 2 ports running a web server. Then we have take a look at the other web server. What file server is it running? What is the CVE number to exploit this file server? And then use Metasploit to get an initial shell. What is the user flag? So it's pretty much a full exercise that we're going to be doing for this task. And the very first thing is going to be to run Nmap. So I'm just going to minimize the web browser that we have here. And we're going to run Nmap against this IP address to try to find some of that information. Now, since I'm going to be looking for a version of something, I'm just going to do the SV as well as just the regular scan of the ports. We're going to paste the IP address over here. I'm not going to use any kind of a script yet. I will do VV for very verbose just to see what we can get. And we're going to try to hopefully get some kind of good information. So you can already see that there's a bunch of open ports. So port 80 is typically a web server. Then port 8080 seems like that's usually also assigned to a web server. There's all these other ports that are open as well. So we're going to wait for the scan to finish so we can actually see what's running on all of these things to confirm our suspicions. But it looks like that's what we have so far. So let's see what else we can get. All right, the scan is now done and we have a good amount of information here. So we can see the versions of things. So when you run SV, it gives you the services and the versions of them that are actually running on it. So we can see on port 80, we have Microsoft IIS HTTPD 8.5. And then we have Microsoft Windows RPC, NetBIOS, Microsoft Windows Server, which is running on port 445. And then we have 3389, which is the open, SSL. It doesn't give us the information on this specific service. We have on port 8080, which is another HTTP file server. So there we go. So that's the second one. So port 80 is actually our web server, or, getting access to the website. And then we have 445, which is the Windows server. And then we have another HTTP file server on port 8080. And then these ports that start with 49,000 right here are Microsoft Windows RPC. So that's basically it. And they run on all of those various ports. So MAC address for the Windows Server 2008 is what we have over here, which is the service info. And that is pretty much it. So all right, the first question was asking for the port for the other server, right? So the other port running a web server. So let's try 8080. All right, that's it. Now it says, take a look at the other web server. What file server is it running? So if we actually go look at this right here, it says it right here, right? So it actually says HTTP file server, HTTPD, etc. And so, on the service, you can see that this says HTTP. This says HTTP, so we can rest assured that this was the first one that they were referring to, now that I really think about it, because this is a Windows server. This is kind of like a virtual machine type of a server. It's not an HTTP server. And the question is asking, what is it running? A web server? So web server would be HTTP server. So the first one is port 80. The next one would be port 8080. Now we can see the version of it, which is the HTTP file server, etc. So I'm going to try to copy this and see if this is the actual answer here. Okay, definitely not. So what is it saying? So it says, take a look at the other web server. What file server is it running? So let's actually just open up the browser. And instead of being at the basic IP, we're just going to do this. We're going to put a colon and we're going to do 8080 to get to port 8080. If I did 80, which is the main port, it'll bring us back to this page, right? So that's like by default, that's the web server, which is port 80. So if we do 8080, it should take us to a different location. And now it says no files in this location. Now we have HTTP file server 2.3. And what is it asking us exactly? It's asking for, what is it? It says, take a look at it. What file server is running? So it's HTTP file server 2.3. I think that's what it is, unless I am mistaken on that response. So I'm going to click around a little bit just to see, but it says HTTP file server. So let's look at some other information here. We'll inspect it and see what else we can find here. So there are a few different ways that we can kind of pull information here. So if we click on this, it's actually a clickable link. It doesn't load anything, but we can see that it says Rigetto.com. So that would be a Rigetto right here. We can see it right here as well. So Rigetto seems to be the thing. So if I go to just Rigetto.com by itself, okay, so it doesn't load that. So I think maybe we don't have access to a internet provider. So if I do Rigetto.com HFS on my own browser, then we have some interesting information here. So Rigetto HFS is here. This is their actual website. So we do have this type of information available to us. So let's go back to our terminal. And since we know that it's a Rigetto HFS HTTP file server 2.3, so let's see if it's Rigetto, okay, HTTP file server, is that it? Oh, okay, I didn't even need to run another scan. So basically, it was just trying to find the name of the company, which is Rigetto. But if we wanted to kind of overachieve, right? If we wanted to be overachievers, we could run another nmap scan and just run the A flag, let's say, or even the O flag, something like that, both, just to be redundant on it. Give the IP address, which is, what's the IP address? I totally forgot to copy it. Let's go right here. So this is the IP address. We're just going to copy this again and then go all the way down here, paste the IP address. And then from here, we'll do again VV. But now we're just getting it on one. So actually, I'll do a P first. So port 8080, and then I'll do VV. So now I want to run these two scan types on just this port, just so I can get more information against that port. And then we're going to get a bunch of information because it's on verbose mode. So it's going to pull all these things. But at the very end of it, it's going to give us the details of everything that would be on that port. So this is what we got, right? On this specific port, there's a lot of information. So let's try to sift and sort through this. The very verbose element of it got a lot of information for us right here. As you can see, up here is the main portion of the report that we have. So it says, open port, HTTP, obviously, this is the file server version right here. The favicons hash is right there. So we can use the favicon hash to try to pull some more information from them. HFS 2.3 is inside of the header, which is also very useful. And if we might even be able to kind of like scan through this to try to find the name Rigetto. That might be an interesting thing. But there's a nice little way to find the name of something based on the hash value of the favicon. Which is basically the logo that shows up in the tab of the browser when you load a website. So if I go ahead and I copy this, there's a website that's actually kind of handy. So if we go here and do favicon search by MD5 hash, and there's a favicon database. There we go. A favicon database. This one is for OWASP, so this one's kind of reliable. So if we search here, there's nothing here. All right, so that one wasn't useful. There was a website. I forget what it's called, but there was a website that we found at some point that we were using that had access to just a bunch of favicons. So I'm going to try to see if I can find that. Okay, that did not yield us anything. So the only thing that I can think of, again, because we already found the answer, I'm just trying to find other ways that we can potentially find this answer, is we can actually just search for the version of the thing right here. So we can try to Google this. So let me see if anything with this will actually yield any information for me. So if I go here, now, oh, well, I already have a CVE that's attached to it as well. And there we go. So Rigetto HTTP file server, that's here. Rigetto HTTP file server, Rigetto. So there are a lot of different things that actually will give us the name Rigetto in here. So it's not that hard to try to find the version or the brand, I guess, that would be for that file server, but just kind of doing a little bit of a search for the version information that's available on the scan results, right? So it didn't yield us anything to go by the favicon, and there was a database, and we did it in one of the Try Hack Me rooms where there was this giant database of hash values that are associated with various favicons, and based on that you would find out what kind of website or what kind of platform or anything like that was running. So I was trying to approach it that way, but I did a good amount of searching for like 3, 4, 5 minutes, something like that, and I didn't come up on anything. So the next best thing would be to just search for the actual version itself, which is fine, and we were able to pull up the information and find what we needed. So that's all good. So we finally got the answer that we needed, which is basically the same answer that we had before. So now it says, what's the CVE of the CVE number to exploit this file server? And this actually showed up at the top of our results here. So I want to say it's either this one, which is the HTTP file server 2.3 something. And so this one is actually a file server version 2.3. So it's right there. So it could be this, the 2014-6287. That could be it. There's another one down here, 2024-23692. That's for the Rigetto file server, including that 2.3 version. So 2024, 23, 692, 2014, 6287. So those seem to be the two numbers that show up the most. So if I can highlight this whole thing. So 2014, 6287, let's try that one. See if that's the one. So it says 2014, 6287. Is that it? That is it. Okay, great. And this can also give us some more hints about this, because if we look at the information of the room and based on how long ago it was developed, so 2031, so 2031 days ago, if we just divide that by 365, right? So 2031 divided by 365, I'm doing this on my phone, it's 5.5 years ago. So basically 5.5 years ago is when this room was developed, which means the issue that is on 2024, this vulnerability that was found in 2024, would not be what applies to us, right? So that's another way to think about which one would be the one that you can find, because the room itself was developed 5 years ago, over 5 years ago. So obviously the vulnerability that they're referencing in the room wouldn't be something from last year, because I'm recording this in 2025. So that's another way that you can kind of backtrack or reverse engineer your answer. So it's 2014-6287 is the CVE. So now we're going to use Metasploit to get our initial shell using the CVE 2014-6287. So this should be relatively straightforward. So I'm going to launch MSF console and we're going to give it a minute. And this is why you would need Kali Linux, because it comes pre-installed with Metasploit. You can always go ahead and download Metasploit and install it, but Kali Linux comes pre-installed with most of the tools that we would need for any kind of pen testing exercise. And Metasploit is a big one. We use Metasploit very frequently in a lot of different exercises. So there we go. It's about to launch, and I know I will probably need the IP address at some point. So what we're looking for is 2014-6287. That's the one that we're most interested in out of these 2,500 exploits that exist. We're trying to find the one that's relevant to 2014-6287. All right, there we go. Metasploit is now up and running. So the first thing that we want to do is we would just want to search for that thing. So 2014-6287. And let's see what shows up. And it's just one, and it's relevant to the Rigetto file server. Okay, and the ranking is excellent. Okay, so all of this is really, really good. So instead of using the name of this full path to try to access this thing, I can just do use and then give it the number. So I'm going to do use 0. If there were more things, then it would have a long list of exploits that we could potentially use, but there's only one that applies to this specific file server, so we're good. Okay, so now that we're inside of it, you can see how the command line has now changed. So now that we're inside of it, we want to see what the options are that we need to launch this. So it gives us the payload automatically. It's a Meterpreter reverse TCP payload. So I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to try that at first. This is my attack box IP address. It's going to be on port 4444. The port is 80. So we probably need to change that to 8080. The server port is 8080. Oh, maybe that, I'm just going to leave it as it is, just to see which one it is that we are going to try to do, because it says the server port is 8080, so that should be good. And then we have the proxies. It's not required. Our hosts is obviously required, which is the IP address that we're going to be running this against, and that's it. And then the target URI, which is the root location, is already been assigned for us as well. So more than anything else, we just want to make sure that the IP address of the target is in there. So just in case I randomly copied something else, I'm just going to recopy this piece right here just to make sure that I have the IP address of the target. So I can do set our hosts and then go ahead and paste that in there. And we should be good to run it on the first attempt. So we're just going to type run, press enter, and let's see if we get a Meterpreter session. All right, I ran it twice. It did not work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the R port from 80 to 8080 now, just to see if that would end up giving us a successful run at this. Because I think for the most part, Oh, you know what? I think this is actually working because the results are very, yeah, there we go. Meterpreter session opened. So it was the R port that needed to be changed. There we go. There's our Meterpreter session. So if I run ls, I'm already in this location. And where are we? We're inside of the bill, app data, roaming, etc., etc. So we want to go into the root right here and print working directory. Operation failed. The system cannot file. Okay, so cd c users. That's kind of where we're trying to go here. Bill. Operation failed. Okay. What about that? Does that work? Okay, that is working. Okay. I don't know why it wouldn't work if I wanted to go directly into it. So now we should be in Bill. There we go. So inside of this, there's a bunch of stuff, and we're looking for the... They said we're looking for the user flag, right? What is the user flag? So that's what we're looking for, is the user flag. Now the user flag could be inside of his documents. It could be on his desktop. So let's see, let's go into the documents. And what's in here? There is nothing of use. Let's go into desktop. And there we go. So there's the text file. So we'll do type user.txt. So there is no type. So let's do cat user.txt. There it is. Okay, great. Oh, but you know what? So these first two characters are questionable. I wonder if that actually is going to end up working. Because it doesn't seem to be giving me the full thing. I'm going to copy the full thing, but I don't think that's going to be our answer here. Because I think... What the hell? What's that? What is this? That is not what I wanted to copy, buddy. I'm trying to copy this thing right here. Why didn't it copy? Let's try that one more time. And it keeps doing that. Oh, you know what? It's those first two characters that are turned into that, and it's missing the rest of it. So let's remove the first two characters. But I think I'm going to be missing two characters. Or maybe not. Okay, all right, cool. That works. So just removing those first two characters, the flag itself is this. So, all right, so that worked. So we're good. We just had to adjust the listening, or the R port, I should say, the remote port. We needed to change it from 80 to port 8080. That's the one that we were trying to connect to. And we were able to get our initial access. So far, so good. Now let's look at what we need to do for privilege escalation. So for this section, we're going to be using the PowerShell script, and it's called Power Up, and you can actually download it directly from GitHub. And so it says, you know, the purpose is to evaluate a Windows machine and determine any abnormalities. Power Up aims to be a clearinghouse of common Windows privilege escalation vectors that rely on misconfigurations. So if we click on this link, so I guess that is the actual link to the full script. So I'm going to open it up in a tab right here. So this is the overall script. So if we click on, I mean, holy cow, look at this. It's massive. Oh, it's very, very long. So I'm just going to do Control All. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go to my machine here. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to open up a new shell. What we're going to do is create a new file, basically. So I'm going to do nano. And I'm going to call it exactly that. So powerup.ps1 is basically what I'm going to do. And it's going to open this file for me. And I'm going to paste that whole... Oh, no. See? It's not copying the original thing that I needed. So we're going to try this again. I'm going to copy this, go here, and paste it. Let's see if it'll paste this time. And it's still not pasting. That's really annoying. So... if that is not the case, let's see if we actually have internet access on our machine. Because if we do, then we can just download it. Okay, we do have internet access. That's great. Okay, so then what I'll do is I will download this whole thing. So hopefully that link will at least copy, because it would be annoying if it didn't. So I don't need to save anything. So we're going to do, I think it's wget. And we're going to paste it. There we go. All right, so we got the PowerUp script. There it is. So powerup.ps1. Okay, there you go. So now what they're saying is for us to use the upload command inside of Meterpreter to be able to upload this into the script that we have. So it's uploading, etc., into the central location, or the location that we're logged into inside of its desktop is where it's downloading it. So if my path for this, right, so the location that I downloaded powerup.ps1 is root. So I'm gonna do upload root /root / powerup.ps1. Let's see if that works. Okay, so it uploaded and there it is. So there's powerup.ps1. Okay, so far so good. And now to execute it using Meterpreter, I will load PowerShell into Meterpreter by typing load PowerShell, and then I will enter the PowerShell by entering PowerShell _shell. So let's do that. Let's try this. Load PowerShell. Loading extension PowerShell. Okay. And then the next piece that we got to do is do PowerShell _shell. So let's first wait for it to load. There we go. So successful PowerShell _shell. And there's that. Okay, great. So far, so good. It's working. And now we are going to run powerup.ps1. That's basically what we're trying to do here. So I guess we're just going to do that. We're going to run powerup.ps1. And let's see if that works. Nope. Powerup. Let's do that then. So we'll do powerup.ps1. Okay, so I tried a few different attempts at running it, and for some, maybe I missed it initially, but the first couple of times that I ran it, it looked like nothing happened, but I think I was supposed to run invoke all checks afterwards, and so I didn't do that. So, you know, I did powerup.ps1, nothing happened. I ran it by itself without the dot and the /, and it gave me a bunch of errors, and then I tried to do it again with the \. It looked like nothing happened. I tried the 2 dots that they have in the instructions. That looked like nothing happened. So I finally did this where it's like PowerShell. So I'm calling on PowerShell. I'm going to give it the command that I wanted to run. And it's basically that whole thing. And then I did invoke all checks separated by a semicolon, which basically says to run this first. And then after you're done running that, do invoke all checks. And I feel like if I would have just done invoke all checks after I ran it up here like this, then it would have probably still worked anyways. So now we have a bunch of results, right? After we ran this, it ran successfully, and we have a bunch of results. So the first one is Advanced System Care Service, and modifiable path, etc., etc. Okay, so what's the question now? So it basically says run it, which we did. Now it says to take close attention to the can restart option that is set to true. What is the name of the service which shows up as an unquoted service path vulnerability? So can restart option, which is set to true right here. And then it says unquoted service path, which is the first one, can restart. And then they're all unquoted. So this is also the same thing. So advanced system care, all of it is advanced system care. So AWS Light Agent can restart is false. Okay, I see. Okay, there we go. All right, so the one that is set to true and the check is unquoted service path is advanced system care service. So let's try that. Advanced system care service. Okay, cool. That worked. All right, great. So now we are going to go into this portion. So it says the can restart option being true allows us to restart a service on the system. The directory to the application is also writable. This means that we can replace the legitimate application with our malicious application. Restart the service, which will run our infected program. So use MSF Venom to generate a reverse shell as a Windows executable. Upload the binary and replace the legitimate one, then restart the program to get a shell as root. So, okay. So first we're gonna run this whole thing. So I'm just gonna copy this because it already has my IP address for my attack box in there. And so I'm just gonna copy this, but I usually like typing these things out. If you know me, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I like typing these things out. But I'm just gonna copy it. It copied only MSF Venom. That's very annoying. So why is it only copying MSF Venom? That's obnoxious, dude. All right, so let's just do Command C then. We'll Command C. Let's go here. Let's see if it actually copied that. It did. Excellent. Okay, there we go. So this is the full thing, right? So if you've never used MSF Venom, there's a series of Metasploit videos that I've done. And MSF Venom is kind of like one of the ancillary services that comes with Metasploit, right? And you don't have to enter Metasploit to create the payload. So this is one of the things that you're going to be doing very regularly if you want to create payloads for any given type of operating system. And in this particular case, we're going to be creating a Windows payload. So you would call on MSF Venom, and then you give it the -P option to create the type of payload that you want, which is in our case, a shell reverse TCP for Windows. And then you give it the connection points, right? So the listening host and the listening port, you have to give for every single one of your payloads. Otherwise, it won't create a connection to whatever you want it to do. So in my case, the 10.201.96.207, that's the actual IP address of the attack box that I've been assigned, right? So if you're running this from your own computer, this would be the IP address of your attacking machine. And then this one technically is our victim machine that we've connected into. So we're going to do MSF Venom. We're going to give it the type of payload. We're going to give it the listening host, which is our attack box, the listening port, which is going to be 4443. And then we're giving it the executable format in this particular case, basically the architecture of it, which is an 86 architecture. And then Shikata GA9. This I've never heard of. So this is something that we should kind of look into. I'm curious as to what this actually even is. So let's see what this is. So we'll go here and we'll do the x86 and then do / Shikata whatever. Let's see what this is. So this is a Metasploit, and so it says, what is Shikata Ganai? Shikata Ganai, let's see, it's an encoder included in Metasploit for the x86 architecture. From the source code, this implements a polymorphic XOR or XOR additive feedback encoder. The decoder stub is generated based on dynamic instruction substitution and dynamic block ordering, and they're also selected dynamically. So it's dynamic and it's polymorphic. Those are the two things that I got away from it. And if you want to read further into it, there's a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go crazy into the reading. It uses metamorphic techniques through code and reordering to produce different output each time. It's a chained self-modifying key through additive feedback. If the decoding input or keys are incorrect, then all subsequent output will be incorrect. And then it partially obfuscated via self-modifying. So it's dynamic and it changes every single time, and it's an encoder, which would make our payload. So this is what is important here. It makes our payload, every time that we run it, seem as if it's a different type of file that's running, which is useful for not being detected. That's what I took away from that. If I'm incorrect, then please correct me in the comment section. But that's what I took away from it, is that when we add this kind of encoding to our payload, then every time we run the payload, it's as if we're running a different file, because it changes. It's polymorphic, right? It's dynamic, and it changes the signature essentially of what we're running. So, and then we have the format, which is an executable service that we want to run. So it's an executable file that we're creating. And then the output name is going to be advanced.exe. So we press enter on this, and it takes usually less than a minute typically for it to create the file. And so once it's done that, then the next thing, there we go, now it's done. So once it's done that, we can now go ahead and transfer this, right? So there it is, right there. It's right here, advanced.exe, and it's inside of the root directory. So now I can go back to the Windows machine, very similar to what I did previously, and I can transfer it. And I need to actually get out of PowerShell. I wonder how I can get out of PowerShell. That's actually something I've never done. So what if I do back? Does that get out of PowerShell? No. What if I do exit? Nope. How do we get out of PowerShell? What if we do Control C, terminate channel? Okay, there we go. So Control C terminates the channel, and now we're inside of the interpreter again, and there. Okay, there we go. So Control C terminate the channel. Now I'm going to do upload root, and I'm going to upload also the what is it called? Advanced.exe. That's what we're doing. Advanced.exe, and there we go. So now do we have the advanced.exe? Yes, we do. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to replace the thing that has a restart set to true. So I should have copied this earlier, but this is the path. So ASC service, and is it the path on every single one? Yeah, it's the same path. So on every single one. So we're replacing this file right here with the file that we just created. So I'm going to copy this just so I don't lose that path. So let's go and get a notepad opened up here, an online notepad, just to make our lives easier. And we're going to paste that. Okay, so there we go. There it is. Advanced system care. And I wonder if this is supposed to be a new line or if it's supposed to be, I don't think it's supposed to be a new line. I think what it is that it's just what it looks like on the format of this. So what I want to do is I want to go into, where is it? Let me bring this notepad right here. So I want to go into program files 86, IO bit, and then advanced system care is where I want to go. So I'm currently where? I'm in Bill's desktop. So we're going to go to CD, and we're going to go up 3 levels to end up in the C. There we are. And what we're going to try to find here is the program files. So there we go. Program files 86 is what I'm trying to get into here. So we're going to CD into program files x86. Let's see if this actually works. Okay, great. We are there. So that's what we're trying to do. Program files 86. Now, IO bit advanced system care is what we're trying to get into. So let me, and oh my God, I should have, what was the path of the other file? So let's go back. Sorry, I have to find the path of the other file as well. That was inside of the users. So users, there we go. Okay, and then so we're gonna go into Bill, and then we're gonna go into his desktop, right? Right, and then inside of his desktop is where we have the advanced. Okay, so it's users build desktop is what it is. So we're gonna copy this one now, and then inside of that we have advanced exe. I need to, because I needed to know where it is, because we need to know where we're copying it from and where it's gonna go to, and I'm completely mistyping everything. So user, there we go, advanced.exe. That's what we're doing. Okay, all right, great. Okay, now we can go back to the other location, and I don't know why it won't let me go into C. It won't let me go into C. It's so weird that I can't do that. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so now we can go into the program files x86, right? And are we in here? We are. So now we want to go into, where is it called? The IO bit and then advanced system care. So first we're going to CD into IO bit, right? Does that exist? It does. Now we're in it. Great. So is there something called advanced system care? Yes, there is. So we're going to now go into advanced system care. Great. We are now here. And inside of this, there should be something called the ASC service. And we're going to replace this with this. That's the whole idea here. So a simple copy command should work, right? So if I go in here and see if ASC service, which is, there's a lot of stuff that's in here. So ASC service, there we go. ASC service .exe, right? ASC service.exe. So that's what we're trying to do. So what we can do is just do a simple copy command, basically. And we're going to do copy, and we're going to take the file from Bill's location. So it would be C users right? Yeah, C users build desktop advanced. So build desktop advanced.exe. We're going to copy that and we're going to put it in our current location as ASC service.exe. That would be the copy command. Press enter. Operation failed. The system cannot find the file specified. That's annoying. So, all right, let me see what it is that I need to do to be able to copy this file, because that's so annoying that for whatever reason it can't read that. That's obnoxious. Okay, so one of the things that we can do actually I'm going to attempt this again. So this is where we are, right? So we're inside of this actual location where we can potentially rewrite, right? Or we can potentially upload the file. So what I'm going to do is while I'm here is I'm going to upload this file again while I'm here, which is the advanced.exe file. And so there we go. So now if we do an ls here, we should be able to see advanced.exe at the very top next to everything else. So let's see if it actually downloaded. If it did, that would be great. If not, then there it is. So advanced.exe actually did download. So that's good. So now we can hopefully go ahead and replace the ASC service.exe with the advanced.exe, right? So that's the goal here, to be able to replace one with the other. So let's see if I can go ahead and do that now. Okay, so this is actually a good sign. This is saying that the file can't be replaced essentially because this is now being used by another service. So because of the fact that this is actually a service that's running right now, we need to go ahead and stop it first before we can rerun it and replace it, right? So this is a service query option that we need to do. So the name of the service, I totally forgot what it was called. SC, so let's see, query, I think it was Advanced System Care Service, right? Is that what it is? What's the name of it? System 9, Advanced System Care Service 9. So we're going to query this and unknown command, run the I see. Run the help command for more details. So advanced system. So maybe I need to go now and do this thing one more time. So let's PowerShell shell. Maybe that's what I needed to do. Okay, so there we go. So now let's do sc query and let's see. Oh, man, I mistyped this. I actually had it an extra S in there. I think that's what the issue was. So let's see if it'll work here. Nope, it doesn't. So Control C, terminate. Yes, terminate. Control C, terminate. My God, I keep doing that. Control C. I keep doing the same thing. What's going on? Y, enter. There we go. Okay, now let's try that. Oh my God, dude, what is happening here? Advanced System with one S, Care Service 9. And it's still not working. Okay, so why is this not working? So let's see here. What did I miss here? Okay, I understand now. So sc query is actually the CMD version of it. The PowerShell version of that same command is the get service command. So we would do get service and then advanced system care service, and now we can see that this is actually running. So okay, now we need to stop that service. I think it would be stop service. Let me find out. Yes, so it is actually stop service. So we're going to do stop service and we're going to give it the name. And in this case, it's the advanced system care service 9. Press enter. So now we can do, nope, I can't go up. So now I'm going to do, again, we're going to do get service advanced system. Golly, this is a not long name. Okay, so it's been stopped. Okay, great. So now, since it's been stopped, we should be able to get out of PowerShell and go ahead and we should be in the same location. Yeah, so we need to copy advanced.exe over ASC service.exe. Okay, so, all right, that's a good sign. So let's scroll at the top right here. And let's see if we actually have copied it or replaced it, I should say. So I have advanced.exe here. Let me see. And then I do have ascservice.exe as well. But I wonder if that actually worked. So let's see. So if I do ls and if I do dir, both of them work, which means that inside of Meterpreter, to be able to copy and replace something, I wonder if it actually works. So let me see here. Okay, so evidently we can just use upload to replace whatever the file name is with another file. So, we could, I'm going to try it again. So it would be, upload this file, which is the root.advanced.exe, and I'm going to replace ascservice.exe with that file. Let's see if this actually works. Okay, all right, so there we go. So now if I do ls, there should only be one ascservice.exe at the top, right? Because that's basically what we've done. Yeah, so one ascservice.exe. So we have now technically replaced that. So again, let's go into PowerShell shell. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to start the service by name advanced. Gosh, what was the name of this thing? Such a long name. Advanced System Care Service 9. Advanced System Care Service 9. Let's see if that works. Okay, so it says failed to start advanced da 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 da. Why did it fail to start here? Open error. Service command exception. Why did it fail to start? Okay, the issue seems to be that we don't have permissions to run the stuff inside of that specific location, which is the Advanced System Care folder. The Advanced System Care folder is inside of another folder, which is the IO-bit folder. And I think the IO-bit folder is something that we do have access to. So I wonder if I can, so if I do cd and go up one, I should be inside, no, I'm inside of user bill still. So we don't want to be there. We want to be inside of the program files location. So let me get into program files one more time, because I don't know why it won't let me get the information by just putting the path in there. So inside of the program files, we do have IO-bit. So now I think it's called iCackles, where we're just trying to find the permissions of a given location. So there we go. Inside of the iCackles location, we should be able to see our permissions. And I want to say, if I'm reading this right, is that we should be able to have execution permission, right? So the OI, CI, RX, W, all these things means that we can actually, this specific person, this user, the bill user, can actually execute and write onto that folder. So I think that's what we need to do the upload into, technically. So if I am not mistaken, I want to say that that's what needs to happen. So at this point, I'm kind of guessing a little bit. These are like educated guesses. So in the current location that we're at is that. So we need to go into the IO-bit location. And in that location, we're going to do the upload command one more time. I'm basically uploading this file in every location that I can find just to see if it's going to run. So upload root, etc. Oh, you know what? I need to get out of PowerShell. So now we're going to do, where are we? We're inside of Advanced System Care. So we need to go back one, and now we're inside of IO-bit. So now we're going to do the upload of the advanced.exe in here. And there we go. So now we have that. So there's advanced exe as well as advanced system care. So, okay. So now let's, go back into PowerShell and let's see if we can do this. So start service and then give it the name, and it's that long ass name. So advanced, what is it called? Good Lord. Advanced System Care Service 9. Oh, no, you know what? Hold on. I also need to do something else. Is what I need to do is I need to start the netcat listener. So I think that's another thing that we need to do, because these payloads typically it's a reverse shell. So this is the other thing that we need to do. So we need to do a reverse shell for the location that we have on port 4443. And then we're going to hopefully, literally fingers crossed, because I have no idea if this is actually going to work. So advanced system care service 9. Oh, you see, look at that, buddy. It actually worked. Even though it gave us like this whole error and all these things right here, technically it worked, because now we actually have this running on this side. And that could have also been the issue the last time that I did it. Maybe it's because I just didn't have my netcat listener running. So who am I now? I am the system. Excellent. So this is great. So now I need to just find what's the location. What are we doing here? We're trying to find the root flag. So where would the root flag be located? That's the hard part is done. Now we just need to find that freaking flag. So where do we think it would be? Let's see. All right, let's go back to the home and let's go into users, right? And inside of users, print working directory doesn't work. So what if I do dir? Okay, there's dir. So administrator is probably the person that we're trying to get into. And inside of the administrator, there should be a desktop. So let's go into the desktop, and there it is, buddy. There we have the root flag. Ah, this is so satisfying. I'm so happy that I was able to pull this off, you guys. This is a big deal for us. There we go. There we go. Voila. Excellent. Super, super excited about it. All right, so based on these instructions, we're going to be using the exploit from the exploit database. We're going to use the netcat binary, and then we're going to use the WinPs at some point as well. So, and then we're going to need to run it twice is what they said. So, okay, so first let's just download everything that we need to. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to my web browser here. I'm going to paste and go to this location, which is, okay, great. So now I'm going to download this guy, and there it is. So let's see where this downloaded for us. Or we can just open up our terminal to see if we can find it anywhere. So where is it? Is it here? Yeah, okay. All right, so it's in the root folder. So that's basically where it downloaded. So we have the Python file right there that's downloaded into the root folder. We also need to download the netcat executable, and we need to download the WinPs executable. So let's see the netcat static binary. So I'm going to open this up. Let's see if I can find this. It's also on, yeah, GitHub. Okay, so this is the static binary. So we're going to copy this. We're going to go over here. We're also going to paste this. Let me see if I can do it like so. Come on, buddy. Paste and go here. So this is the location for our netcat static binary, and we need to be able to download this binary. So let me see if this will work here. Okay, I think it worked because it says ncat.exe has been downloaded. So that should be fine. So if I click on this executable here, yeah, I think it worked. So there's the netcat static binary. So we have that now. And let's go and see if it shows up in our folder here. And does it? There's it. Okay, so ncat, we got that as well. And we need to also download WinPs and be able to run that as well. So now we can pull WinPs to the system using PowerShell -c and execute it. So get service. Okay, so hold on. Let me kind of strategize here. Okay, the finding of the WinPs executable was a bit of a hunt. So you essentially, as long as you kind of Google it and try to find it, you'll be able to find the GitHub repository where you can actually download it, and then the instructions are on the README location. So it's after going through several README paths and kind of following the instructions, I ended up on this specific location. So it's the Ps-ng and then Ps-ng is where I'm at right here. And then we go under releases, and that's kind of where we end up where we are. So if I'm going to go back one more time just to kind of show you how I ended up where I am. So I went to the README from the main page, right? So I Ps-ng and then WinPs, and then there's the README file right here. And then it says, so you can, where was it? So it said link to WinPs exe project. This is the one. So I clicked on this one, and then it opened up this location for me. And then in the README file right here, it says that you can download the latest obfuscated and not obfuscated versions from here. So I clicked on that, and then it brought me to the list of all of the assets. And the one that I downloaded that I'm going to try is the WinPs x86.exe. That's the one that I downloaded. So hopefully this works, right? So if we go over here now, and if we look at everything, so everything should be here. So I have the WinPs x86.exe, I have netcat, and then I have this Python file. So I am very much hoping that this is actually going to work. So the first thing that I got to do is I need to actually modify the Python file, because we need to change the IP address that's connecting back to our actual IP address. And then we need to also give it the port that we want. So this is our local IP address that we need to put, as well as the port that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and give it the IP that I have up here, which is the 10.201, etc., etc. So give me a second. Let me go ahead and try to figure this out real quick. All right, so that's what this looks right here. So the IP address is the IP address of my attack box. And then the local port, I just did 1443. So we're going to now Control O, enter, Control X, and we're out. So that file has been updated to actually be able to connect back to our machine. And so based on the instructions, they say that we need to have a Python listener that's running. We also need to have a netcat listener that's running. Okay, so this is all very confusing for me specifically, but I'm just gonna trust the process. So I'll have the Python, I think it's Python 3 on this machine, and I'm going to run it on port 80. And so what does it say? It says port 80 address is already in use. Okay, so let's do that. Python 3 -m HTTP server, and we'll do port 8000. Why don't we do that? Okay, there we go. So port 8000 is working. Okay, so now let's do a netcat listener on the 1443. Okay, so that's running. All right, so we're going to open up a third terminal, and we're actually going to run that Python script now. So let's make sure it's here. So there it is, Python 3, and it's going to be 39161.py. And I needed to give it the IP address of the machine, the target machine. So I'm going to give it that IP address, and I'm going to give it port 8080, which is the port of the HTTP server that's running. That regex, the Rigetto server, it's on port 8080. So we're going to run it. So now it says Python exploit da 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 da. What does it say? The usage is Python exploit.py. Target IP address, target port number. Don't forget to change the local IP on the script. Missing parentheses in call to print. Did you mean print? Something went wrong. Python exploit target. Don't forget to change the local IP address. So the print statement is wrong? What the hell? Are you serious right now? Now I have to go and try to find the right print statement? That's so annoying. Line 49. It's missing a print statement. Okay, so let's go and try to fix that real quick. Yeah, bro. Literally the print statement. Who did this? This is so ridiculous. Okay, so we're gonna go and fix the print. This is insanity. Where's my cursor? There we go. So the print statement is supposed to have a parentheses right there, And then at the end of it, it's also supposed to have a parentheses at the end of it. So now it's going to print that. That is ridiculous. I did not do that. That came pre-installed like that. So, okay, let's try this again. 10, 201, 87, 246 on port 8080. And now it's giving me another issue. Okay, this is not working the way that I thought it was going to work. Okay, so the error that we're seeing right here is a formatting error. So it's misreading the backslashes, and that's one thing. I also changed the name of the netcat listener from ncat.exe to nc.exe. So we see that right here. So we have that as well. And we have the original as well. And then I restarted the netcat listener on port 1443, excuse me. So another thing that we need to now do is we need to go ahead and fix this file one more time and go to line 39, which that has that one variable, this VBS variable. And probably the easiest way that we can do it is we can just change it into a raw string. There we go. So if we do a raw string, or excuse me, I think it's a formatted string. Is it a formatted string or a raw string? Let me see what Gemini told us. It said to put R before the opening quote to turn it into a raw string. So that's what it says. So if we go here and turn this into a raw string, press enter. So we saved it now. And so let's now run it one more time. Let's see if this works. It says line 22, import URL lib, no module named URL lib. This is insanity at this point, and I'm kind of getting annoyed. So pip3 install URL lib 2. Let's see if this is going to work here. Okay, so here is the challenge that I am facing, and this is kind of where I've hit the furthest extent of my knowledge, okay? And I looked up various blog posts on this as well to try to see if there was anything that maybe I can fill in as far as the information gap that I have. And unfortunately, I believe I am stuck. So if somebody can figure this out, then I would really love to hear from you. So there are a few things that I needed to adjust, because when I downloaded this original Python file from the link from the course materials, right? So over here, it tells us to download the exploit from this specific link, and it takes us over here. And the link in this exploit has a few different elements to it. So number one, this freaking print statement at the bottom was one that was missing the parentheses, so I had to fix that. The second one was that the URL lib2 binary, or the library that it tries to download, it will not download because it kept giving me several messages saying that, you know, the library that you're trying to import doesn't exist. And I tried to install that library. And then there was another one where it couldn't read the value of this variable right here. And I changed that to a raw string so that it could read the value because of the backslashes, right? So then it gave this whole issue, right? The import URL lib doesn't work. No module named URL lib2. Okay, fine. I tried to install it with pip3. It still did not work. And I tried to update my pip and then tried to install it with pip3, and it still did not give me anything. And finally, I went and did a search with Gemini, and it said, okay, so you can modify this, and instead of doing URL lib2, you can change it to URL lib.request. And so if that was the case, then I would go ahead and actually change the entire code of this, because previously, previously when we looked at this, because it was doing URL lib2, all of these portions right here were saying URL lib2, as you can see from this code right here, right? So it's URL lib2 is being downloaded, or it's being called upon, and it's saying URL open because this was the thing. So I had to change all of these to URL lib.request.URL open, and I did that for all of those. And at that point, right, the last piece that I did was that modification, and then I ran it again, right, and it said the target IP address and all these things, make sure that you actually fix them, and I did that as well. Or excuse me, I'm sorry. So this was the last error that I got, because the URL lib 2 was not changed inside the source code, and I changed all of those to URL requests. And then I finally, after that, I ran it, and I ran it again, and I ran it again, and I ran it again, and I ran it multiple times, and I still never got that connection, that reverse shell connection to this. And I don't exactly know why the hell this needed to be up, but we did that as well. So that was kind of an obnoxious little thing. And I'm wondering that maybe it's because the port number of the Python 3 server was not changed inside of this source code, because at this point I'm trying to just figure out anything that would make this work, because it's really not working, and it's really bothering me. When things like this don't work, it really, really bothers me. So in this case, trying to see what port that it actually tries to connect to, it doesn't show me. So it doesn't show the IP address and local port other than these two, because these are the values that it should be connecting to, which is the 201.96.207, which is my attack box, as well as the, unless it should be the IP address of the target machine. And if I got that incorrect, that might be the issue. So, because it says local IP address, so it's supposed to be my IP address, not the target IP address. That's the thing that I'm kind of like stumped with right here. So I'll change it to the no, it won't be. It's the local IP address. I'm losing my mind right now, clearly, as you can tell, because I've been going back and forth with this, and it's really bugging the living hell out of me, and it's not working, and the instructions clearly don't want to give us any hints other than just kind of getting all those things running. And I read so many blog posts around this and try to see if there's anything that I'm missing that I, for whatever reason, did not understand. And unfortunately, I don't think that there is anything that I missed that I don't understand. So what potentially could it be? I mean, that's the thing where I'm just like, okay, maybe I don't know. Let's try this one, right? There's just so many. So no module name simple HTTP server. So that's the other part of it. There's so many things that are about this that, okay, so there you go, Python. Okay, fine. So now we still have this running as well. So let's try this version. I'm going to try every version that I saw in the blog post to see if it works. Nope, no connection established. So yeah, if you guys figure this out, and if you can drop a comment and let me know exactly why it wasn't working and what I missed, I would really, really appreciate it, because we technically got the last part, which is the Metasploit, working, and we were able to get the root flag, so that part was fine. But the piece of it that is not working is this other piece, to try to find the exploit to work with WinPs and that exploit that's available on the exploit database. And this is, again, very, very, very annoying. So it says you need to be using a web server that hosts netcat, and then you may need to run it multiple times for success. And I thought I was, but clearly it's not working. So let me know if you guys figure this out. Please keep me in the loop. I would really, 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 really appreciate it if you guys can figure it out. You know, I know that we have certain geniuses that exist in our community, and it would be really amazing if you guys can help me figure this out. So I'm going to terminate these machines, and I kind of feel a little bit defeated, to be honest with you, because I really was hoping to be able to pull this off. And I think maybe the last time that I did this exercise, I don't think I did that last task, because after I got the flag, I was just like, okay, you know what, forget it, whatever. I'm just gonna find the answer to this piece right here, which was just a basic PowerShell command where you're calling on a commandlet, and the rest of it doesn't require you to respond to anything. So I think the last time that I did this, I just clicked on check answer, and that was it. So this time around, I actually tried it, and I'm really, really upset that I wasn't able to pull it off. So anybody that can figure this out and if you can let me know, I would really, really appreciate it, because it's bugging the hell out of me, and I don't want to not be able to provide the answers for people who are actually really trying to get it right and who want to try it. So the comment that comes in that actually has the answer to this specific problem for this task will be pinned at the top. You'll get a special shout out, and I will be eternally grateful to you. But if you can figure it out, that would be amazing. Apart from that, we had yet another series of exercises that we did with Metasploit, and we were able to pull off the reverse shell. We did MSF Venom, and we created a payload for it, and the payload worked. So everything that we did with Metasploit and the payload for Metasploit, all of that, the interpreter session, all of those things actually worked. So that part was nice. It was nice that we were able to pull that off, but the rest of it, unfortunately, did not work. And I don't like that, as I've mentioned a dozen times by now. So if you can find out the answer to that, you will definitely get pinned to the top, and I will be eternally grateful to you. If you found value in this video, and if you'd like to get more videos like this one, then I encourage you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out on this channel. If you do come up with the answer to the last section, please drop it in the comment sections. If you have any questions about what we went through, please drop that in the comment section. I do love hearing from our community, and I am responsive. I'm very responsive in the comment section, and you know, I'm asking for help this time around, because that one was really annoying and I did not like that. And so if you can provide the response to that would be amazing. And just don't copy and paste something that you found on Google. Like, please try to explain it. It would mean the world to me, and I'm sure everybody else in the community will also be eternally grateful. So that was it. We have a bunch of stuff that's already on the channel that you can go ahead and check out. A lot of really, really good information. And on top of that, there's more videos coming out constantly for the CompTIA PenTest Plus / offensive pen testing, which is what this video is a part of, as well as the AI for cybersecurity training series that started recently, and that's being really well received, and a lot of people like that as well. So all of these things are available on this channel, and of course, you can just drop a comment to get access to me directly. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you have not done so already, to get access to the channel and all of the future uploads. And then if you want direct access to me as well as a bunch of other perks, there's something called Hackaholics Anonymous. If you want access to my notes and exclusive downloads, and to get lifetime access to me on Discord, consider joining Hackaholics Anonymous. We have 4 tiers. We have the supporter, the agent, the guardian, and the master. Each tier gets their own Discord server and early access to content. The agent, guardian, and master levels get exclusive content, exclusive downloads, monthly Python automations, live streams with me every single month, plus so much more. And to join, you can simply click the link in the description below, and you will be able to choose the tier for which you want to join. I really hope I see you in the Discord chats. If not, I hope I see you in the comment section. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite networking system attacker / protector. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And I will see you in the next video later.